John Doyle. Um, why did the SPLC fund? Let's watch Pragmatica. Can Pragmata save civilization from collapsing birth rates? Yeah, this whole thing is gay. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And I like Black Swan. I'm a big fan of Black Swan. But you shouldn't be playing a game where you're playing as a little girl. Okay? I'm sorry. It's not normal. As an adult. If you're a kid, if you're like a teenager playing it or whatever, it's fine. But like, if you're somebody my age, it's like, you know who wants to babysit other people's kids? It's women and like pedophiles. That's like who, and like teenagers who want to make money, but like an adult male, like I shouldn't be babysitting. I shouldn't be a primary school teacher. I shouldn't be a kindergartner teacher. I shouldn't be a middle school teacher. I shouldn't even really be a high school teacher, although that's different because that's more adults. But like even that, it's like whatever. Professor, yeah, I could be a professor because I'm like really, really smart. But yeah, it's the same thing. Games are not art. Games are toys. So number one, you shouldn't be playing games if you're an adult unless you're making them. That's why it's fun to make them, because you can actually play them in the process of making them. So it's not actually embarrassing. It's not actually like bad. But they're toys. It's not art. And it is a little weird, okay? It's a little odd to be like a 20-something-year-old man and then make, oh, the Wobot girl, the Wobot child makes me feel like a father. It's like, no, that's not normal. That's not normal, dude. And that's freaky. So once again, I'm coming out as like a libtard. But I think it's like, it's just like, why? It's not even that it's necessary pedophilia. It's like something's wrong with you. If you're an adult male and you're playing a video game and you're identifying with a child, or with the video game for that matter, if you're playing a video game as an adult, let's just simplify it like that. If you're playing a video game as an adult and you're identifying with it, you can have fun. Games are fun. They're toys, right? Playing with a toy is fun. Everyone likes toys. Puzzles are cool. But if I start identifying with a chessboard, you'd be like, what's wrong with, why are you identifying with a chessboard? If I started identifying with a number slider or like whatever, it's like, dude, come on, bro. Like, are you a baby? You grow up. And it's, yeah, so really, yeah, you can have fun. You can play games. You can have fun with toys or whatever. But that's what they are. They're not that meaningful. They're like, toys are good, games are good, but they have to be in the proper context. And video games are cool. They're chill. They're fun. They're fun to make. But it's like, you're making a toy. You're making a game. It's not some deep, horrible, deep thing. Yeah, and I'm not even saying, I'm not even saying that, like, it needs to be an ugly woman who's fat or whatever. There are aesthetics. There's like fun things you can have a thing, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it's a kid. Maybe if you're a teenager, you're like, oh, that's deep. That really made me think about when I'm older, I want to be a father. That's fine. Like, you're a teenager. Okay, cool. Yeah, this will be cool when I have a kid because I can take care of, well, that's fine. But if you're like 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and you're like, oh, this really made me feel the urge to be a father, it's like, you missed like a lot of signals somewhere to where this is like your thing where it's like, yeah, now I want to be a father because I played a video game with a robot girl. I was like, dude, come on, bro. So it's not even about the pedophile stuff. It's more just like, it's just weird. It's like, that's weird, which yeah, sounds like the girl thing, like how women do the shaming thing. But it's that where it's like, you can say, oh, it's a fun game, it's a cool game or whatever. But to be like, oh, this awakened my sense of being a father, you had something wrong with you if a video game awakened your sense of being a father, you know? Now, you might not even have a sense of being a father. That's cool. That's chill. Who cares? You might not want to have kids. A lot of people don't, or whatever. That's cool. But like, if this was, or you might want to and like the game, and that's cool too. But if you're like, this spoke to me, this spoke to my heart, and this made me think things, it's like, dude, can we like grow up, please, and not do that?
Games that are, for the first time in probably decades, depicting parenthood in a positive.
We need to increase birth rates with this video game. Yeah. Yeah. It's like insane, dude. It's like, no, we actually don't need to increase birth rates, actually. If anything, we need mass depopulation. That's why I'm like I am really like a technologist person. Like I am like a transhumanist technologist person. The problem is everyone says that is like Mark Andreessen or Elon Musk. And And it's like, wait a second, you're not that. You just want to be popular and you like money and you're like a weird suck up to like Jewish people who are the power structure. You're actually not a transhumanist. You actually want to be like famous and successful and liked. Me, I want like a robot arm and I want everyone dead. And I want a robot arm. I want laser eyes. And I want to fly around. You know what I mean? I don't want to run Twitter and to make robots. No. Give me like a cybernetic brain. I can kill people with hack into machines. Take away all my humanity. Turn me into a Floyd bot. Okay? But that's like much more close to, that's actually transhumanism. All right, that's cool. Make half my brain a machine. Let me shoot lasers or whatever. I don't know. And kill all humans. Not whatever Mark Andreessen and Elon Musk are, who are like Uber Redditors, freaks. Mark Andreessen's not even human, he's an egg.
An endearing light, and the situation on the ground is suggesting that this could single-handedly psyop an entire generation of...
You're not a transhumanist, you're a transhuman? Yeah, that's like true. They're not even transhumanists, they're transhumans. I should have said that, but that's good. I'm going to use it somewhere else someday.
Women into having children, because of this like one game and the surrounding memes and conversation. So we will discuss that, pronatalism, fertility rates, how all of that actually works. Also, speaking of relationships, there was a study that just came out showing that brides who do
not... and I don't want to kill people. I'm saying humanity, please run its course. Time for the next, bring some aliens. Okay? Either AI or aliens, preferably both. But this stuff is getting boring and really boring.
Not take their husband's last names are far more likely to divorce. And then Tucker Carlson breaks my heart yet again by saying literally the most retarded thing I've ever heard as of the time of this taping. Finally, Barack Obama and Mamdani visit a classroom filled with children who somehow have even less American sounding names than they do. Do stay tuned.
Damn, dude. That's a crazy intro. That's a crazy intro, dude. That's actually insane. That's like horrible, but dude, that's so insane.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the John Doyle Show. Sorry to keep you waiting. Very complicated business. Everyone was adding me on Twitter like, where's the show? Like I didn't literally tell you exactly where the show would be at the conclusion of our last episode 2 Fridays ago.
They gotta be buying views from, right? Let me see. They're not even buying views, dude. 13,000 views 2 days. That's crazy. But that's like what another thing, like everything's mechanics, right? Like everything is just mechanics. And some work on cars, some work on bikes. Some things make funny. But anyway, yeah, honestly, I should have just been a professor. I should have been born like the 60s, and I could be a professor and have a house and a car instead of being homeless and no car. And then I could just like have tenure in like Berkeley and live in California as a hippie. I could march in the civil rights and get black people their right to vote by marching. Yeah, that's what people don't understand too, is about like, that's not real. Like the civil rights thing wasn't real either. That was just like, we had so much excess. So it's like, okay, well, women, let's maximize profits by having women in the workforce and black people, let's make, and everything's so comfy and everything's so chill. Everyone's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Black people can vote. It's like, none of it is like, there's no social movements that are ever real. That was just allowed to happen because we had so much money and we had so much excess and so much wealth. And it was like, people wanted to distract you from something else. And so they just had people like, yeah, let's go march in the street for black people to be able to vote. Let's go march in the street for women to be able to be slaves of the office. That didn't do anything. That wasn't like organic. None of this is organic. Absolutely none of like the public movements are organic. That's why it's always so scary when stuff starts getting like popular, because it's like, this isn't organic. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, being a hippie professor would be cool. And then I could just have tenure and not do anything. But now I'm forced to do stuff. But that's what, oh yeah, with like the media, it's like the people, like, I think it's Emil Kierkegaard, he said it, but he said basically like, if my child wanted to, say, should I be a prostitute or a journalist, I'd rather than be a prostitute. And that's like really what it is for like streamers, and what it is for like these people like John Doyle, where it's like the only ones who are eating well and doing well, besides somebody like Nick who's like extremely talented, who's funded by the SPLC, is they're getting funded by people to push propaganda. That's why like Jeff Bezos bought the newspaper, whatever it's called, and it's like that's how it works. These people don't have any, like, the only thing that's like weird is that they haven't figured out, oh, you gotta bot the views too. Like, bot the views and then bot the comments. Like, that's like the weirdest thing about it, is like, why doesn't Blaze TV bot the views and then bot the comments? It makes zero sense to me. I guess it doesn't even matter, but you know what I mean?
Fake fan.
But that's what it is.
Fake fans. Yeah, we were at the producer Blake wedding. Very exciting. Speaking of relationships, got to see everybody, got to see the boy get married. A lot of fun at the reception. I am told that the bar, not at the reception, but at the rehearsal dinner, actually somehow lost.
These people are just prostitutes.
Money.
But they're not even having sex with people. They're just talking.
On our party.
And these are just for boomers, I guess. Like, emotional support prostitutes. It's called the young person who agrees with you experience. And you pay somebody like John Doyle, with all your interest off your 15 houses. And he says stuff that you'd want a young person to say to make you feel good as a boomer.
Even happen. Like, you would think that there's a baseline margin. Apparently they lost money.
Can we not watch John Doyle? Dude, send me money if you don't want me to watch John Doyle. 15 subs and 25 subs. 25 subs and I'll watch something else. I'll entertain the babies on my chat room with something else. The children, I'll put them to sleep with nightly news. And that's another thing too I want you guys to understand. This is why I'll never be a good streamer, because I just want to tell you guys the truth. What you're doing by watching streams is no different than boomers who, like, they get home and they turn on the television and then they watch 2020. Thank you for one gifted sub. I appreciate it.
Just gifted one subscription.
Appreciate it. But like watching YouTube, watching Twitch, watching Kick, watching Cozy, watching Rumble, left wing, right wing, listening to podcasts, it's no different than the boomers. The only difference is that it's shitty. It's like horrible content. It's worse. It's less produced. It's more mentally ill. And it's like takes up more of your time. And you don't have a boomer's job. And you don't have a boomer's house. And you don't have a boomer's like dating prospects. And you don't have a job market or a country that the boomers had. Or the quality of food boomers had. But the one thing you do have is a worse version of like shutting your brain off and wasting your life away, which is a stream.
We set the record for the all-time greatest in quantum.
But that's once again, I can't. But every time you watch a stream, it doesn't matter if it's my stream or somebody else's. Please just think, hey, this is literally the same as what people I hate do.
Order of green tea shots. I spent a certain amount of money. I think 25 green tea shots, which, by the way, that's free game for you out there. You simply go up to the bridal party and say something to the effect of like, does anyone want a green tea shot? You guys look like you could use some green tea shots, and they will immediately flock. It's like if you went to a pond with a bag of bread or something and all of the ducks come up to you. That's basically what happened. So we had a great time there. Very excited about that. But in other things that are very exciting, there was this video.
It's actually so over. Yeah, dude. But that's honestly, that's why it's so important to work on something. Because don't think of it as like, oh, this is going to make me like happy. But it will. But don't think it's going to make me rich, but it will. But think of it as something like, this is like a way to prevent myself from becoming a boomer who has no hobbies and just yells about Fox News and politics. Because that's the path you're on right now. Just sad to say. And you might all end up that way, you know what I mean? But at least if you have some hobby, some sort of creative endeavor, some sort of productive endeavor, who knows? Maybe you can end up like that billionaire selling alcohol to black people for money and not have to watch streams when you're old.
Game that I guess just came out or something. People are talking about it.
Paul and John Doyle are equally parasites? No, John Doyle's like a better parasite. Honestly, though, I'm a better parasite because at the end of the day, I tell you what is happening while I do it. Which makes you like a worse person. I'm like, I'm just worse at doing it.
culturally a gamer in the sense that I'm racist.
I'd give you $1 million to make something, Paul. If I had 100 billion, crap, dude. Paul is killing his host. No, really, what I'm hoping for, I'm hoping that like I eventually do something and make it out, and then I can be like the one who like I'll have the most legendary arc of everybody if I can make it out, if I can survive and make it, because I'm the only one who like I was willing to be a piece of shit, horrible person, scumbag, but I never wanted to be, and then I made it and I stopped being one, and it was like, damn, he was real. Everyone else, they just pretend, they LARP. He was really about it. And then, you know, I'll shake my fist at everyone and say, see, I told you I was nothing like you. I told you I was better than you, and I really am. And then I'll ride off into the sunset, letting everyone be miserable without me.
I don't really play video games as much as I used to, perhaps. I think that the whole industry has gone downhill for a lot of reasons, which perhaps can be explained by my other hobby.
I told you guys, because that's the thing. I look around and I'm like, I shouldn't be here. I'm not like John Doyle. I really shouldn't be here. I'm not this person. You know? I'm not John Doyle.
But there's this game that just came out, Pragmata.
I'm not Sneeko. I'm not John Doyle.
I'll read you the Wikipedia summary. It says it's a 2026 action.
Sneeko is enlightened. He has a brown crown. Yeah, he used to be a brown clown. Now has a brown crown.
Adventure game developed and published by Capcom. Of course, Resident Evil Patriots. Set on a lunar research station, the game follows spacefarer Hugh and android Diana as they work together to fight a hostile AI known as Idus that is controlling the station and return to Earth. The game was released on April 17th for the PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch. So essentially what people are taking from this, aside from the gameplay, is there is, I guess, a recurring kind of environment throughout the game where it depicts like child raising children, fatherhood, being a girl dad in a very positive and endearing way.
So this is the game Black Swan loves, the girl dad game?
Rather than what is typically the case in all forms of media, which is something that is overwhelmingly negative, something that is trying to emphasize to the potential or prospective parent how draining the process of raising a child is, how you would be far better off.
Isn't this a game where you shoot people? I don't think many girl dads are going around shooting people.
You know, just pursuing spreadsheets and hedonism and whatever it may be. So I want to show you a video here so you can kind of see what we are talking about.
No, I can't expose the other side of Norwood, dude. I'm still waiting for the peptides. That's another reason I need to make money, is waiting for the hair loss peptides. I can just inject that into my scalp, and then I will not be bald. So... this is the game Black Swan likes, dude. Bro really is a pedophile. Not even gonna lie. I was being too kind. Anybody who likes this game is straight up just a pedophile. And I like the people who are like, I saw this funny one where people are like, anybody who says that this game is for pedophiles is telling on themselves because they're secretly a pedophile, and that's why they think it's just because it's a game about a little girl that I'm playing as an adult man that I'm a pedophile. It means that they think all children are sexy and they're a pedophile. And it's like, wait a second, no. That would be like having, it would be like Jovian having like hentai. And me being like, Jovian? That looks like a child. That looks like pedophilia hentai. And then he'd be like, oh, just because you think this child is sexy, it means you're a pedophile. Just because you think, it's like, no, I don't think it's sexy. I think this is gross. I think this is disturbed. I think you're a pedophile. And Joe would be like, yeah, you got me. But that's like what's going on here. You're like, you think that this is weird. You're a pet. It's like people, you think being gay is bad. You're gay. It's like, no, I think playing a game where you're whatever, a girl dad is weird. Yeah, dude, this is like, bro, give me a break, dude. There's no way, dude. Let me move. Dude, there's no way, bro. Bro, why would somebody play this? Honestly, it's not even pedophilia. It's like trans, like, but like same gender trans vibe going on. Dude, what is John Doyle doing, dude? Dude, no way. Yeah, and that's like, I can't, like, politics isn't real because this is the type of person who's involved in politics. And there's an audience, not a big one, but there's an audience for this sort of person. And this is like, this isn't a dumb, like, John Doyle is actually not dumb. He's above average IQ. Like, he actually is legitimately smarter than the average person in America. So how are you going to believe that politics is real? That, like, we actually have, like, these people have any say in how anything happens in reality, dude. These people are literally like brain dead zombies, and they're smarter than normal people. It's over, dude. It's not. We pedophiles, says Jeffy. But no, like, literally, this is like, it's not real. It's not, like, it's all slop. It's all, I really do think war is like, every first world country, quote unquote, is trying to find a way to kill its own people. You know why? Not because they hate everybody, but because it's like cancer. What happens is cancer. What is cancer? Cancer is when cells, they don't die and they keep multiplying inside the body, and eventually it kills the host. And really, I think every first world country is like, their people is like their civilization is like cancer. Like they need to be killed. And every country is trying to kill its population in different ways. And every other country is like, no, let's let the cancer kill them. Let's prevent them from killing them. Let's keep them alive so the cancer kills the people from inside, kills the country from inside. And I think that's the real plot of what's going on. I think every country, all the good people inside of it are trying to kill everybody or kill most of the people because most of the people are like cancer. And then every other country is like, no, let's make that, let's keep the American population growing. Same thing with like us in Iran. Keep the Iranians are trying to kill themselves, but no, let's keep the Iranian population growing. Same, you know what I mean? I think that's a much more reasonable way to look at it. It's kind of an accursed share, like the accursed share, really, honestly, where it's like, how do you deal with your excess? Or we're not dealing with the excess. I think it's a new form of warfare where we prevent countries from killing their own populations. And I think that's what's happening. Dude, yeah, but it's like, dude, this isn't real. Like, you're in a trance. Wake up. None of this is real. Okay, reality. I don't think it's real, but let's not get there now. Let's just start with politics, because at the end of the day, we need to wake up and leave the illusion. The scary part is once you leave the illusion, what do you do? Who knows? That's the question. We have to escape politics, dude.
So yeah, this doesn't appear to be anything that's actually like advancing the gameplay. Again, I don't know, I haven't played it, but it's just something that's going on in the background to kind of contribute to the atmosphere in which the game takes place. And I think that's very important because quite often what we try to do to, get our politics across is we try to shoehorn it into people's mental bandwidth, to their media consumption bandwidth, and it just feels very forced. It's very unnatural. So like if a conservative wanted to make a game to like raise the fertility rate, he would make a video game that's like, you get to play as a husband and you press X to praise your wife. It's like press X to tell her she's doing a great job in the kitchen, she's doing a great job being a mom, all this stuff is just like very forced, very artificial. Whereas something like this is just a game that has a mainstream audience, it's very popular, and it just so happens to include this depiction of, I don't even know if it's fatherhood. Again, I don't even know what's going on in this game. All I know is that we're seeing a little girl run around and she's exploring the world, right? She has a curiosity. She's interacting with the world around her, spinning the globe. And if you've ever
I'm gonna say it. Anybody who likes that game is a pedophile. I'm straight up saying it right now. Anybody who likes that game, straight up pedophile. I don't even care if their child likes the game. 5 years old, you like the game, you're a pedophile, dude.
I'm around little boys or little girls. Like I had nieces growing up. And this is just, there is something too about the girl dad, right? That this is something that has been discussed more frequently online, where I can like witness the behavior.
It's just straight up pedophile shit, dude. I think it isn't, but it's so cringe and horrible that we have to just say it's pedophilia so nobody even talks about this. We just say straight up pedophile, so nobody ever plays it, and nobody ever does stuff like this.
Like little boys, and it gets me like, let's go. Like I am relating to the impulse to just want to run around and terrorize everything and destroy everything, and you have to keep an eye on them because they always have a scheme. And they will pretend that they don't have a scheme, and they will not meet your eye line because they know they have a scheme, but like there's always something cooking. And so on the one hand, as an adult, I have to mitigate that and temper that, but then in a much more real sense, I am like good, yes, become who you are. But then with little girls, it's different because they are just these like little angels, right? And sometimes
Paul, play the game, then you can judge. Bro, my computer can't handle that game. My computer's not for pedophile games. No, I don't need to play the game. Just I don't. It's crazy, honestly. I'm still kind of like shocked at how stupid it is. That's another reason. Like, it's like we're probably in like hell or like purgatory or something. Probably purgatory, not hell. Hell's not that bad. Maybe that's what makes hell. Hell is what makes hell so bad is that it's like boring, and it's like there's no relief. There's no satisfaction of saying, yeah, I'm in hell. Okay, I'm in hell. Now what? You know what I mean? It's more like, am I in hell? Nah, there's still a chance. And like, yeah, crap, I lost the shot. You know what I mean? That's sort of like, maybe that's what hell is. Hell is more like, it's more esoteric. It's more sapiosexual in terms of the torture. Because yeah, maybe that's more like, I feel like that would be like hell, is giving them the illusion of staying alive. And then with the last second, a rat, I think they did a study. And they basically were drowning rats. It's a very weird study to do, but it was one of those rat studies where they basically just pop rats into water, and a rat would swim for X amount, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, for example, before it drowned. It gave up and drowned, right? But if you kept pulling the rat out, maybe 8 minutes in, 9 minutes in, giving it like a minute to rest, and then tossing it back in, it would end up swimming like 90 minutes, like 9 to 10 times. I forget the exact numbers, but essentially like exponentially more swimming minutes if you gave it the illusion of the chance of maybe escape. I don't even think they let it rest. I think they just took it out for half a second and put it back in. It literally wouldn't give up as fast because it would have the illusion. So I think that would make more sense of like what reality is, So it's like if it thinks it's in hell, it's just gonna give up and be like, all right, whatever, shit, I'm in hell. That's it, And then how can you have hell if you realize that you're in hell? Because then you're like, crap, this is I'm in hell, so I lost. The end. And then you finally have some like relief. But if you don't know you're in hell, you could be in hell forever and then be like always close to success and always have it ripped away. And then you keep trying, and that would make the suffering even more delectable. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe we're in hell. But anyway, let's watch the rest of the John. Maybe we're not. Let's watch the rest of the John Doyle video to find out.
A little calamitous, but it is kind of like that. Like they're just kind of exploring the world around them. They have a sense of kind of grace about them, which maybe little boys don't exactly have so often. But
we are all DJ Oats.
Right? This is the, I guess, binary between how little boys and little girls behave. But oftentimes
niggas talking about little boys and little girls. That's crazy.
See these kinds of relationships or dynamics expressed in media. It is always the opposite.
I'm not John Doyle. I'm not in hell, dude. John Doyle hasn't made, bro. He's retarded. He has money from like a job that isn't competitive. He has like a bunch of weirdos telling him he's a genius. And he is sitting in a leather chair, comfy, with millions of dollars in his bank account.
Nothing pertaining to, not even just...
Paul, is it possible you're projecting? Yeah, I think that's like a very real possibility that I'm the only real person. And it's like a solipsistic view of the world. And like, I'm actually just like real. And everybody else is fake.
It's the joy of like you feel fulfilled because you have this thing that you're responsible for, but really kind of like appreciating the beauty of like a young life, interacting with the world, exploring it. None of that is ever depicted, and it's always the stuff that is less desirable. It's always the stuff that is sleepless nights,
is demons in my head
in public, and changing diapers, and things getting broken, and your furniture that you care about having apple juice spilled on it. Things like that, which are of course going to be some of the maybe more road bump type parts of being a parent and raising children and things like that. And obviously,
Imagine if John Doyle was your dad, dude. That's how you know your ass is in hell. That's how you know your ass is in hell. When you wake up and you're like, oh crap, my dad's John Doyle.
Anybody who's a parent will tell you that it is neither, right? You find this balance point between.
No, I don't, Jovian. I don't have those thoughts. I kind of try to think. I really, what's nice, what I've been doing lately, and this is why also I get so mad when I'm streaming now. Past few days is like, number one, no donos. Number one, Jimbo's just killing himself on drugs and also taking my audience, so it pisses me off. It's like, number one, he's hurting himself. But more importantly, he's taking my viewers and thus my donors. So it's kind of like it's like a parasite. He's like a parasite. He's pissing me the fuck off. But he's also ruining his life by taking drugs, taking Adderall. He should not be taking Adderall. And I'm not biased by saying that. There's nothing in my life that I just said that's making me say that. But then also, like, I'm spending my time thinking about working on the game, and it's like a nirvana. It's like, I can think about my game, I can think about adding things. It's very fulfilling. And then once I pop on the stream, I have to like get submerged in like shit, which is like the mind, the universal mind that's like around me, surrounding me, that I'm avoiding and like managing to transcend when I'm working on positive things. And so like I go from this state of like perfection and like bliss to the state of like, nah, dude, you in hell, bro. You know what I mean? Paul, if you eat raw eggs without biotin, you will go bald. Yes, also if I don't eat raw eggs, I will go bald, dude. I'm gonna go bald. It's in my genetics. Unless I take dutasteride, minoxidil, finasteride, and whatever copper peptides, and whatever the new, stem cell. Once they'll do that eventually. I actually do believe that. I think they'll solve balding. I think it's a very easy thing to solve. You just rejuvenate the cells, hit them cells with some radiation. But you know what I mean? BPC 157. Paul, Jim was making AI keen on your black pilling. No, I like Jimbo, and I'm happy for him. I just wish the kick would like pay me because my audience isn't. But it does kind of suck to be like forced to like this crap. Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's like what pisses me off is like.
Anonymous sent $15.
Thank you, I appreciate $15. But it's like what pisses me off is that the bad people, the people who we all don't like, they just print money. So it's like, this is like a game you can't really win, right? I'm not trying to win, but it's like, it's such a weird thing where it's just like everything is so bad, and it's like it is like super. I guess not despairing is very important. That's like a real thing, but like the frustration where it's like when you have like so many people doing OnlyFans and so many people doing stuff like that, it's like that's just the destruction of the country. That's the destruction of young people and innocence. And it's like, yeah, on one hand it's funny and it's haha, you can make fun of people who are doing OnlyFans. On the other hand, it's like if so many people are doing, people like they weren't doing it a generation prior, so the fact that they're doing it means something has changed. Like society is failing, and it's like the people who gaslight you or just say, oh well, just do this. So it's like, well, even if I am successful, which I'm going to be and I want to be, it doesn't negate the fact that like people just don't listen. They don't listen if you are like boomers don't listen and people don't listen. And if they get successful, they have this tendency of being like, oh, well, I'm successful, so you're just, life is good. You just have, it's like, no, life is not good. Life is bad. Society is bad. Society is unhealthy, and it's getting worse. And it's like, it's one thing, it's like, I hope I never, no matter how successful I get, ever end up being like, where it's like, oh, well, no, society's good. I worked hard and got it. It's like, no, it's like, if I succeed, it'll be a mix of like good fortune and like grit. And far more grit than I should have had to have to be successful. And it's just sickening. It's just like the gaslighting when it's like, You have people doing DoorDash and having 2 jobs and doing OnlyFans and doing streaming and doing like podcasting and YouTube videos and tweeting and trying to make money tweeting and writing and all this stuff. And it's like, this is just like literally all the people who are competent and could start businesses and would start businesses and would provide services to their family members and their community, who are locked out of that because all that's been locked away to like a criminal class and a bureaucratic criminal class that is just foreigners. So it's like that's what's so frustrating about it, where it's like it's just horrible.
That like you're not expecting perfection. You're also hoping that it's not just.
Are you afraid that you'll become like that if you succeed, and that's why you don't? No, I would be very happy to succeed. I just haven't done it right yet. I just haven't managed to do it right. Like I had like 50 grand or something in crypto and it got stolen or whatever through no fault of my own because there's like a problem with OpenSea or whatever. I've had stuff like that. I've had like things like that. I've had, I've never really had an opportunity to make good money ever at any job. Like the best time I've ever made money was with like Signal Boot giving me money. So it's like I've never ever had a good opportunity to make good money. So that's like the reality of it. So no, I guess I've had opportunities. I could be like a political streamer and be like, it's like whatever. And then I could probably be like a soulless person and suck up to whatever. But I've never had good ways to make good money ever in my entire life. So
the worst thing that's ever happened, but it is the
and
same
then he unpaused the John Doyle video
did for you, which is an extremely unique feeling that you'll never experience until you are in that position where.
But then again, once again, then he paused the John Doyle video. If I didn't get distracted by stuff, I could have made a game or could have made a program or could have gotten, connections with somebody who did it. But I've made programs, I've made stuff like that. I've made like websites, I've made programs that I thought provided a value. And because they provided a value and they weren't like trying to milk money from people, they didn't make money. So I think like it's not through a lack of trying. It's just like I haven't done the right thing yet, the right combination of things yet. But I think it's fair to say, and I think I'm not being, I don't think I've been lazy. I think I've been actually pretty studious, and I think I've been pretty like well-meaning and willing to do hard work repeatedly in many different cases, both online and offline. And I've never gotten a good opportunity that has paid off well. It's paid off in terms of personal character and personal, like the way I think I'm better at doing things because I've done things. But I think I can be objective enough to say that, hey, it's not through, I'm smoking weed all day. Why am I not a millionaire? It's more like, hey, I've been doing things my whole life. Why don't I have a house, a garage, land, that sort of stuff?
So true.
And then the thing is, you get like people who are like weird, like other slaves, and they're like house slaves, and like, psh, you're just whining, you're pounding. It's like, dude, you're a house slave. What are you doing? You're like barely making ends meet. Why do you feel uppity? Why do you feel like you're in a better position? You're in no better position. You're in a worse position. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It is what it is. The last job, how would I say this in a positive way? It was too unstable. It was too unstable and unreliable. So I didn't have enough money. I couldn't keep going to it, and it was unstable. And it wasn't what it was promised to be. It wasn't what it was promised to be. There was stuff I appreciated about it that I learned about myself, my flaws and my strengths, and I appreciate it. And there was good stuff about it, but yeah, it became too much of a net negative to continue doing it, and it was too much like drama. Like that's like a thing. I'm getting too old, and one of the things I'm trying to do is avoid drama, which once again sucks for streaming because that's like the thing you need to do for streaming. But yeah, like there were very cool things about it, and I will always appreciate about them. And then there was also a lot of things I don't appreciate about it that I think was like unfair and bad, and was a net negative. But on the whole, the positive stuff I'll always remember, and the negative stuff, that's partially my fault for like getting involved in it. You know what I mean? It's partially my fault for not, stopping, seeing negative things and saying, all right, well, I'm done now, letting things go on, that sort of thing, or addressing it in a more healthy manner. So it's partially my fault. But at the end of the day, it was just not, it wasn't beneficial. And as it wasn't beneficial, I had to leave it. On multiple levels, it wasn't bringing out the best in me, or progressing my career, or progressing my knowledge base, or my skills in life, or my where I was. So because it wasn't progressing and enough time had passed and it got bad enough, I was like, okay, well, this is now, could I have done it better? Could it have all done better? Probably. But then again, that's whatever. That's life. But there were a lot of positive things, I think, from it, that I'm very happy about, and I don't regret it in the sense where it's like I'm not man, I can't believe I did it. It was like I was looking, streaming, I wasn't really enjoying streaming, and this is an opportunity, and it didn't pan out. But that's, again, life. There's a lot of things that don't pan out, and you just keep going, and you can express frustration about them. But I think what makes a man is expressing frustration and then moving on and doing things, not being caught up in it. And you can get caught up in things sometimes, but I'm doing my best to move forward and be productive. It is what it is. There are some very valuable lessons I learned from it, and very good times, some really, really good memories I have from it, some really not so good memories I have from it, and it is what it is. And I hope everyone that I worked with does well and has a good life, and I hope I have a good life. But it is what it is. Asking for a job? No, that's not any. One thing I would say is I would hate to work with Nick, or Nick. It's like, I like Nick a lot, but anybody who's doing what he's doing has got to be such a miserable boss. It's got to be horrible. Not because he's a bad person, but because you just have to be a super curmudgeon, super autistic, super specific person to be in his position. So there's no way, there's zero way in hell I would ever want to work with Nick. I'm very happy being on good terms with him, and every once in a while interacting with him in a positive way. There's one, the last thing in the world I want to do is work for Nick on anything ever. Not because I dislike him, but because I like him too much, and he's extremely particular, and I'm also extremely particular. And just I don't think I'd probably make a good employee, probably. I probably would be a good manager, but not a good normal person employee. I probably wouldn't be a good employee with Nick. I probably would, it probably would end in he and I hating each other. And both of us would probably be right for different reasons. So that's probably better to just be what's up? You know what I mean?
Dealing with the things that are less glamorous. You're dealing with the things that are headaches, that make you unable to sleep, that are physically draining.
Bet you can't even weld? I can, actually. I haven't done it. I did it when I was in high school. There was a church program. It wasn't what's it called? It wasn't Boy Scouts, but it was like Boy Scouts. And then, so basically you'd have different people do different things. And so over the summers, over a few years, I did there'd be this one people that did welding. So it was I forget what it's called. Is it a TIG or stick? Stick is one. The one I did was just the one where you have the metal come through the line, which is the easiest one. And then you do some grinding down on that sort of stuff. Am I any good at it? Probably not. Probably. Actually, I might be fine at it. I don't know. But I learned about the stick welding. I did some of I think it's TIG, right? TIG welding. I've done that. So I actually can weld, but I wouldn't want to do that because that would be destroy my lungs.
Boiling, and then you realize that.
But no, I wouldn't. The only welding I would do would be underwater welding, and that's just because it's dangerous and cool. But yeah, I've been around. I've done stuff.
You are just paying this forward because obviously you care about your child.
It's crazy work though. It's horrible. It's horrible. Anybody who does it, I respect them, but I also feel bad for them because their eyes get shot so bad, so fast, even with the mask on. That's one of those things. It's I don't even know how you that would be cool. Actually, you know what? That might actually be the move. Dude, now that I think about it, that might actually be the move where people get rewarded for doing miserable jobs because they're doing the health stuff is getting better, and they injected some stuff in people's eyes and it basically fixed their cataracts. That might actually be because like people's eyes and like their lungs get shot too from being welding. So like if they can do like stuff where they can heal the people's lungs and heal people's eyes, and just say you made like a crazy amount of money welding, and then all of a sudden you can afford like that surgery, that'll be like karma, and that'll be like awesome. So I don't know. That might actually be the move to become a welder. So you like, yeah, your eyes and your lungs are gonna get bad, but hopefully you'll make enough money where you can make the money and then also get the eye surgery. You know what I mean?
Also, maybe even take care of them.
It is a big gamble, though.
Old age, because they are no longer able to take care of themselves. Like this
streaming welding would be profitable. I don't think so, dude. Hey, what's profitable? What's profitable is to like have women on stream in like bikinis and like make content for like brown teenagers to jerk off to. Like straight up, like that's what streaming is profitable, is make porn for horny Mexicans. That's what content is for. Content is for, you know, Mexicans who are masturbating, black people who want to see violence and like destruction, and then white trash who want to see like arguments. And that's streaming. That's the entirety of streaming. And also like autistic people who are like into politics. But those are the three core audiences, dude.
The natural cycle that has occurred for generations, obviously. And while I don't think that
you can just have women in bikinis welding. Yeah.
Kind of media is going to, I don't know, wake up the masses and make them realize the virtue of parents.
Welding is an art?
Like that. I do think that this.
Sorry, but no medicine is valid until there's an aura potion. Yeah, honestly though, it's like CRISPR. We know CRISPR isn't real because Chinese people don't all have blue eyes. Like the moment CRISPR becomes real, every single Chinese person alive will have blue eyes. A10s, because they all want to be white. Okay? That's number one. And then once balding is solved, then we'll know like they have figured out genetics. Until then, because every billionaire wants to be like the full head of hair.
Yeah, uniquely affects the fertility rates of people who you would want to be having kids. Because the people who you want to be having kids, and I'm not saying that some people should have kids and some people shouldn't. I'm just saying when people talk about like total fertility rate.
Yeah, when Jeff Bezos' hair, we'll know.
They don't mean.
No, I don't know about him. He's off the deep end, dude.
You don't like literally mean.
Jeff Bezos has like. Jeff Bezos has like he has like the behavior of like an insane person. I don't even know his deal. I think what happened is he was like a government slave and he like did it long enough and he succeeded and they said, "You're free now." Now he's finally freed and he's like, what am I gonna do? And he just does that crap. He's like the one person I think it was like set free from his like slavery, and now he's like able to just do anything and he has nothing to do. So he's like, okay, whatever, get a goblin.
Themselves, because civilization is not sustained just by that. Civilization is sustained by having people who are intelligent, people who are stable, people who possess a certain temperament for governing, for making the trains run on time. Those are the kinds of people you want to be having kids, specifically so they can kind of inherit that and carry the torch of their civilization. But the thing with that is that people who tend to do that, they actually tend to plan out having kids, just like they plan out everything in their lives. Credit.
It's like idiocracy, dude.
Whether they want to commit a crime and go to prison, like they tend to exercise a little bit more forethought all throughout the board, including and maybe even especially with having kids, because they have to have a plan to take responsibility for those children. Whereas other populations, they will have kids literally no matter what. Things in society could be going well, they could be going not well. They wouldn't know. They don't even watch the news. They're not monitoring the situation, and they know ultimately, or maybe they just get a sense that it doesn't really matter how things are going, because the kids ultimately aren't going to be their responsibility. Somebody else is going to be paying for the food, paying for the school.
Real Dalton Cloud Filter, W Dalton Cloud Filter in chat.
Which functionally is just daycare, paying for the housing. All of that is going to be taken care of. And by the way, it's going to be taken care of by the people who are exercising that forethought. It's their tax dollars that are going to subsidize all of this, which is why, you know, people will accuse me of being a eugenist.
I should mod Dalton.
Not the case.
I should mod Dalton.
I do think that there's obviously a component.
And that way he can ban Jeffy.
Preference that takes place.
Might have to do that.
Because it's not like we're approaching this with a neutral playing field where everybody gets to just have freedom to have kids or not.
Might have to ban Jeffy and Jovi and have Dalton be my top man. Dalton be my top general.
Be incentivizing certain people to have kids, other people to not have kids. We are doing the opposite. We are incentivizing people who maybe would not be naturally having kids to have more kids than they naturally would be having. And we are incentivizing people who would be having kids to not have kids. And so it's a completely.
You know what really messed me up as a kid? this one realization was that if I go up to somebody that I'm like friends with, right, and I just say something horrible to them, and I hit them, or I just say evil to them, mean to them for no reason, not to get anything out of it, not because I'm mad, not because I'm like tricking them or anything, just for no reason, they would stop being my friend. And what that meant to me is like, oh, so everything, like, they're not real. Because if I can just be horrible to them and turn them from friend to enemy, then they're just like a machine. They're like a robot. Because I can just change whether or not they like me. Not through their willpower, not through their opinions, not through their thinking, just through my behavior, which makes them not sentient and makes me the only sentient person in the world. And then from that point on, everything went downhill fast.
So
everything went real downhill real fast.
You know, maybe are not exercising so much forethought in having children. That's like actually true. It's not even that they just do it and trust that like, oh, it's going to be taken care of by the government subsidies.
Everything like a crap. Is it too real?
Anyway.
I figured this shit out too young.
They just end up pregnant. They end up having kids, and these cycles continue, and these generations kind of continue. And you know, we've seen interesting data recently too.
It's true. And what's messed up is the more you think about it, the more real it gets.
Years now that, you know, the fertility rate of white people is going down, the fertility rate of everybody else is going up.
Like, damn, that's just so real, dude.
Months that fertility rates of white people are actually
on the church altar.
A little bit of a white baby boom.
Ryan Gerdusky, that guy's cool, right?
Poised, I believe, to become the highest like per
capita. What, you have telepathy?
TFR.
I have telepathy, dude. 100%. I believe in telepathy. I believe people can read minds. Some people can read them better than others. 100%, dude. Telepathy is 100% real.
Or whatever, like specifically.
I remember when I was in the GATE program as a kid, they brought me down to this basement. They touched on me, but that's beyond the point. But anyway, they would give these flashcards, and they'd say like, "What is this?" And you look and flip them, and I would get them all right every time. Every single damn time, dude. And that was when I met Bill Gates, and he said, "This is why I created this program, because I love children." And I said, "That's creepy." He said, "No, not like that. That's Jeffrey." And then he pointed to the guy next to him. It was Jeffrey Epstein. And he said, "There's a video game. You ever play Pragmata? It really made me feel like a girl dad."
Americans are increasing in their fertility rate.
How many fingers am I holding up? You're holding up 3, dude.
Measured, of course, by births per woman, and then you are seeing decreases.
You were going to do 2, but you did 3.
And I think that's interesting because, first of all, we saw something similar happen within the first Trump administration. You actually saw a little bit of a baby boom with specifically white Americans. And the reason for that is just obviously that white people want to feel as though we have a future in our own country. It's not controversial. It's not scary. It's a vibe. It is a vibe that we experience. And as we've been saying on the program, you can't correct for that with tax.
How many children am I holding up? None, Jovian.
Correct for that with just putting out pieces of media that say, look at being a parent, so much fun. Look, it's cute. Look, it looks like you. That's not going to be enough. You're not gonna positive depiction. You're not gonna cute baby video.
What's crazy is like people don't have kids because they don't have money. You're not gonna get people to want to have kids from playing a video game. The only people who want to have kids from playing a video game are people who want to have children in the biblical sense. And those are bad people, okay? And they already want to do anyway. The reason people want to have kids is because it's a natural byproduct of sex. And if they have a house, if they have cars, if they have a stable society, and they feel happy, they'll have kids because they'll have sex. And they're all, it's a natural process. People want to have kids, but they can't because they don't have somebody, they don't have somebody they love. They don't have stability. They don't have, that's like what it is. The only people having kids are stupid people generally, because those are the only people who are like, I should just have kids. Fuck it. And then they just go have kids, and then they have, no way of providing for them. That's the reality of it.
Your way into a higher total fertility rate. However, it is symptomatic of like an overall vibe that people are experiencing.
If John Doyle has a future in this country, then it's not a country we're saving. No, it's not that. It's just like somebody like John Doyle should be a farmer. And I don't mean that in the bad sense. I just mean like he shouldn't be said, like there's no intellectual sense in which he's competent or like valuable. Or he could be like a pastor in like a church, right? In a local church, in an Episcopalian church somewhere, But it's not like there's no deep thinking. There's no value. Like he shouldn't be elevated to any national, which is kind of the irony of his whole video here. But he shouldn't be elevated to society to talk to people about anything. We should pasteurize John Doyle.
Obviously, being a parent is horrifying. I mean, people never feel like they're ready. There's always a million reasons not to do it. Everybody at every iteration of humanity, I'm sure, has expressed some argument to the effect of, well, the world is so messed up. I don't know if I can do this. That is ultimately a justification for a deeper impulse, and that impulse is going to be largely...
You know who said it's not ready to have kids? It's not a good time to have kids? Is people right before Rhodesia, right before apartheid ended in South Africa. There were a lot of white parents, I'm sure, who were like, it's probably not a good idea to have children. And guess what? They were right. Guess what? They were actually correct, because their society was about to collapse and become a rape like town. Cape Town was about to become Rape Town. And so they were actually correct when they said, hey, we probably shouldn't start a family right now because Cape Town is about to become Rape Town. And yeah, that's at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that's like there's the two main forms of advertising is like fear and then relief of fear. That's how I'm not doing advertising. I'm not selling you things, because what I'm doing is I'm saying things are going to get worse and there is no solution except for you being productive by yourself with your own mind. Like I'm not selling you some crap, but like the two types of fear, the two types of salesmanship are like, this is like oh, you're too ugly. Unless you buy my product, nobody will ever want to have sex with you. And everybody else will like you more. Oh, you're going bald? Yeah, buy hims.com or whatever. Oh, you're getting old? You better do this now. You better gamble now. Oh, you need a car? Well, you're not going to get a better deal. So buy my car lot now. Oh, you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell. Nah, that's different. But anyway, and then the other one is like, hey, the universe, you gotta be generous. If you're not generous, the universe won't be generous with you. But if you're generous, you'll be blessed. And if you're generous, you give me your money, God. It's like this is what at church they did one time, and I was like a kid. I was like, this is crazy. There's like the one thing they said, like, it's like a game of catch. And you throw your money in, and like God blesses you and throws money out. But you gotta throw the ball first to get the ball back. And I'm like, wait a second, but why don't I just keep the ball? If my goal is to have the ball, and I have the ball, why would I throw the ball to you and hope that you throw me back the ball? But anyway, baseball, the base of ball. Freemason compass. Look at a baseball field and look at a Freemason compass. It overlays perfectly. Wake up. Ball. Anyway. It's true though. It's actually true. But anyway, yeah. Those are the two types of sales where it's like, hey, you drop your it's like the Trojan horse, where it's like, hey, don't think twice. Let me do what I want to you. Like, it's like, that's like the problem. People take psychedelics and they're like, we're all one. And it's like, yeah, but parts of the one are like rapists. So probably don't think we're all one. Because generally, yes, we're all connected, but like some of our connections are evil. Just like you wouldn't put your fingers into the wall, the wall socket that's connected to the electricity. We're all one, but you wouldn't shove your fingers into the wall socket probably, or the, rub a cheese grater on your face probably, even though we're all connected. Same thing with like, we're all one. So some of us are rapists and pedophiles. Some of us are murderers and some of us are scam artists. But it's like that. It's like this weird thing where it's like, yeah, everything's good and just have kids. It'll work out. It's like, no, sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes you got to put the kid up for adoption because he had sex and you didn't use a condom. And now this kid needs to go to the adoption agency.
Formed by the vibe of the society in which you are living. And you can be in an impoverished society. You can be in, I don't know.
Yeah, ball has been stuck on the shelf.
Society. There can even be a lot of crime. But if you still recognize it to be yours, it's going to give you a certain optimism that it can be corrected. You are in possession of this thing, this gift that your ancestors crafted. In that, there's a responsibility to protect.
Jovian's adopting? No, you better not, dude. I've already put in multiple complaints to whatever country he lives in about him.
to continue it. However, if you feel as though it's not even yours, that's going to go away. You can live in a country which maybe has, let's just say for the sake of argument, not that this has literally ever panned out ever, it can be safer. It can be more economically prosperous. It can be all these other things, which again, bear with me. Let's put on our patriot thinking caps and be delusional for a second. But even then, it's like it's not even yours. So why would you feel that same incentive to continue it? It just, I don't think it maps out. And so you're seeing all this kind of stuff play out where now that people feel as though they've got hope for their future, they feel as though things could actually be corrected. Mass deportations, which apparently definitely aren't happening. Well, they're happening enough apparently for people to feel as though they have their own country. They have sovereignty in their own country.
They're not happening, but what are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? They're not happening. Mass deportations are obviously not happening.
So the same way that you saw this under Trump administration 1.0, a small baby boom with white Americans, you're now seeing the same thing under Trump 2.0, which John Doyle predicted in 2020.
Yeah, we're getting a total baby boom, dude.
Going to happen. And so ultimately, if we are concerned about fertility rates, which I don't think, by the way, is nearly as big of an issue as people want to paint it out to be, I think it's actually kind of a liberal coded concern in the sense that you are viewing human beings as literally just like integer values, and we need to maintain this number of people, and if we have this number of people, society is going to collapse. Simply not true. You need to have high quality people who are capable of
I guess what we don't have, dude.
practicing virtue, people who are raised in stable families, who are capable of cultivating civilization, which is a historical anomaly, by the way. That is like really more important than simply maintaining a certain size of the population. And so I'm not so concerned about simply numbers declining, even relative to other populations, in the third world. How many Brits ruled India? There are ratios to be accounted for. But
yeah, guys, you're going to get India, dude. How many British people ruled India? Now look at India. Look how awesome it is. Look how awesome, dude. India's awesome, bro.
In terms of if we're actually trying to kind of restore the sort of imbalances that I think have occurred because of things like feminism, all of these progressive social projects, which have been disastrous and worse, extremely annoying to me and my friends, ultimately, I think it is correct that for that to be healed, you need to restore the kind of veneration of masculinity. And we mentioned this a couple weeks ago on the show. People talk about religious communities having higher fertility rates. It's not because they're religious. It's not just because they are reading the Bible better than you. It's because what those communities do is they go out of their way to recreate the conditions of patriarchy. It's kind of a LARP, but it works for them because
okay, now I will
always talks about with
Georgy Midarev, our one actual Russian viewer.
Fertility rates by giving women money to have more kids. If you incentivize them with dollars to have more children, obviously they will have more children. It's backwards. The opposite is the case. When you give women money, they have less children every single time. When women are more educated, more employed, of greater general means, etc., they have fewer children. When given political power, what is the first thing they do? Literally every time. They maneuver to liberate themselves of the condition of their sex. Birth control, abortion, laws compensating for relative...
This is the guy who said earlier talking about buying 23 shots, 23 green tea shots for women at a wedding.
Weakness, so you disagree with her a little bit too intensely. At best, you're socially ostracized as a freaking manipulator. At worst, maybe you get a domestic violence charge on your record. That is not good. Whereas you have a society that celebrates masculinity, heroism, all of that thing. That is the only thing that can occur to actually get women to like abandon that project of liberation, right? Because at that point, they're going to compete with each other for access to those men, to normal men, heroic men. They do not want to be the center of civilization. I know that they say that and they act like that, but they don't know what. These are not reliable narrators. It is not good for them because when you try to celebrate and like elevate women.
Yeah, just so like not interesting or like full any value or any insight at all. Like, should I take the right to vote away from women? Dude, how would that happen? Why would half the population vote to remove their right to vote? How does that work? Were you retarded? Like, what is that? How is that going to happen? That's not going to happen. And at that point, if that's going to happen, we'll force them to. Well, why not just do other things too? Why not just have a race war then? Because if we can just do that, why not we just have a race war then? Obviously, it's not going to happen, dude. So, everything else after that is insanity. If you say that's the problem, you can't fix that problem. So, trying to solve it, it's It's just intellectually, all these people are intellectually incoherent and disingenuous. I'm coherent. I'm actually if you look at my books, if you look at what I've said, you look at my streams, there's a through line completely like 100% actually just myself. Like, I'm not pretending. I'm not lying to you guys. I'm not selling something that's not real. I'm doing my best. That's like, these people are just completely incoherent. Their logic is just broken. They don't have proper logic. And that's why they get paid, because it's like, if you don't have proper logic, then there's places for advertisers, there's places for disingenuous people, there's places for manipulation, there's places for like getting paid, because you can shove in. And this is why you need to support Mormonism. This is why you need to support Glenn Beck. This is why you need to go to theblaze.com. This is why you need to buy my t-shirt. This is why you need to do that, because it's super important. Whereas for me, like, no, it's not fixable. So you can do stuff, have fun, but you're not going to fix it. And there's no purchase you can make, and there's no movement you can support, and there's nothing you can do to win. The only way you're going to win is through a mix of luck and, grit. That is you. That's not anybody else. But even when you win, you're going to be stuck in a country that's failing, and you're going to be stuck in a society and a civilization that's dead. And the future is going to be scary and gross and horrible, and be dystopic and horrible, and like, there's nowhere in the world you can hide, except for the place I'm going to hide, but that's why I'm not going to tell you where it is. There's no, so that's the thing. These people are just, that's why they get the funding. That's why they get the stuff like that. And then people like us don't, and we won't. But it's better. It's a much better life, honestly, because because sometimes you wonder, is it a better life? And that's like, you're still alive. You're capable of thinking. You haven't replaced your brain with, your brain is sentient. Your brain is still alive. You haven't like broken your brain to become a shill for something. Because what happens over decades is you become like worse and worse of a shill. And you end up like Sean Hannity, or you end up like Mark Levin, or you end up like, well, Mark Levin's a little weird. He's like warped because he's a freak. But like, you end up like the old people, and it's like David Duke or Sean Hannity, or whatever, because you're essentially like a slave to like whatever scam you sold out to. But if you're a slave to yourself, then you're always going to be yourself. So you're never like, the logic might not make sense, and it might be frustrating. You might make mistakes or fall short at places, but you can always pick yourself back up and be like, okay, well, yeah, I don't like the way I was with that. I don't like the decision I made with that. I was stupid when I did that. I was unwise, or I was foolish. I wasn't thinking clearly, or I didn't see what I should have obviously seen right in front of my face. And I can fix that, right? I can fix that. I was wrong. I can adjust my behavior, rather than being like, oh, of course I'm a conservative because I have gold sponsors and I have Glenn Beck sponsoring me. Of course I'm not anti-Semitic because I want a job at the DHS. Of course I'm whatever because but as if you're just yourself, you're not really going to get picked up to be like, you might get somebody who's like, oh man, you're awesome because you're, whatever, and get money. That's a real possibility, right? But then that's like, but even without that, it's like way better, because you're not going to wake up and be like, oh crap, like I don't believe I'm not conservative anymore because of blah, 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 but I have to be because now I'm making $10 million on Fox News. I'm Sean Hannity. And if I do this, I betray, I lose all my sponsors. I can't do this. I am basically I've built a cage that forces me to be what I was 15 years ago. And because that's when I got my audience, I can't do that, or I lose my audience. I lose my contract. I lose whatever. But if you're just yourself, the only way you can lose your audience or lose your momentum is if you stop being yourself. And that's, who wants to stop being themselves? And especially if you get a lot of good things, then you can, but then if you get a lot of bad things, you can just stop being yourself and for a little bit and be somebody else and escape all the bad things from being yourself, and then adjust yourself to be something else. But as that's why I'm free to say, when Brittany from Politically Provoked was asking like, oh yeah, you seem to be able to do whatever you want. It's like, yeah, because I've always claimed to be what I am, really, which is like a crazy person. Mark Fisher suicide. That's funny. Yo, those who curate and those who consume. Finally, a good video.